This is Idaho News 6. Good morning, Idaho.
Welcome to Good Morning, Idaho. I'm Kristen Scovira.
And I'm Matt Sizemore. Developing now, 2 people are dead and 5 people, including the suspect, are recovering after shooting at the Boise Town Square Mall. Yeah, that happened just before 2 Monday afternoon as Boise police responded to calls of shots fired inside the mall. Our Natasha Williams is live in Boise this morning. And Natasha, what are police saying so far?
Matt and Kristen, Boise Police Chief Ryan Lee called it a traumatic event for the community and also for families involved. Now, as we've mentioned, 2 people were killed in Monday's shooting. The Ada County Coroner's Office also responded to the scene, and we're expected to learn more from them today. One of the injured is a Boise police officer. They've been treated and released from the hospital. Chief Lee said during a briefing Monday, officers confronted the suspect outside of the mall.
Shortly after responding on scene, officers encountered an individual matching the suspect's description, and there was a exchange of gunfire that ensued shortly thereafter, resulting in the officer's injury, as well as the suspect being taken into custody.
We've learned the suspect is in critical condition. Chief Lee did not expand on a possible motive, but said they believe there is only one suspect and there's no ongoing danger to the area. Boise Mayor Lauren McLean also spoke during the briefing yesterday, thanking mall employees for stepping in to keep people safe.
Countless people found themselves in a situation they never would have nor should have expected. I want to thank the shopkeepers, the people in the mall that reacted so quickly to take care of folks that were there. The mayor also went on to thank Boise police and first responders, reiterating Chief Lee's point that Boise is safe and there is not an ongoing threat. Now, because the suspect and Boise police both fired shots, the Ada County Critical Incident Task Force, they have been activated along with Meridian Police leading the investigation. Now, the mall will remain closed for the time being, but people who left items inside the mall yesterday will be able to get those today. Boise police are sharing those updates via Facebook and other social media. We'll make sure to pass them along as well. Coming up, we'll share what witnesses saw yesterday and heard as shots were fired. But for now, live in Boise, I'm Natasha Williams, Idaho News 6.
All right, Natasha, thank you. And Monday's incident is the latest in a series of recent shootings in Idaho. Just over a week ago, customers at the Buy Mart in Caldwell sheltered inside after an afternoon shooting in the parking lot there. Police say a 23-year-old man was shot as he tried to drive away from an altercation, crashing into several other cars. He was hospitalized in stable condition. Police do not believe it was a random encounter, and they think the parties involved knew each other. If you have any information on the incident, please call Caldwell Police.
In eastern Idaho, a teenage girl was arrested after a shooting incident back in May. 2 students and a staffer at Rigby Middle School were hurt in that situation. The Jefferson County Sheriff says the girl opened fire in a hallway before being subdued and hugged by a teacher until police could arrive. In the interim, police reported 2 more incidents of guns in schools. The first happened just a month ago when police say another young girl was found with a gun in her backpack at the same Rigby school. A week later in Boise, police arrested an 18-year-old at Frank Church High School after they say they found a loaded stolen gun in a backpack.
This is Frankie Ketefias with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Well, we're starting off this morning with a live look at downtown Boise, taking a look at that skyline right now. Current conditions looking pretty mild, but definitely cooler now than they were about 24 hours ago. 43 degrees, that reading in Boise. 40 degrees is what it feels like, though, because we have a wind moving out of the southeast at about 5 miles per hour. Now, that out the door checklist, if you're heading out the door on this Tuesday: coffee, keys, wallet, raincoat, and of course an umbrella. And you're probably thinking, Frankie, well, I thought we had mostly dry conditions for today. And we technically do, but heading home from work today, you're looking at the possibility of some light rain. 50-degree weather, though, we could anticipate. So again, it's not going to be nearly as cold as it could be, but it's not nearly as warm as it was yesterday.
Now the Idaho News 6 traffic report.
Time now is 6:04, and we are taking a look at traffic for the first time this morning. I-84 over at Orchard, 5 Mile, Eagle Road, and Maple Grove is looking good. We are seeing some slightly slick conditions, though, this morning. So as always, it's important as you're heading out the door just to anticipate taking things a little slow this morning. Obviously, those slick roads create not so ideal driving conditions. Here's a look at what to expect at Eagle Road in Chinden, Franklin and Milwaukee, State and Glenwood, as well as downtown Boise. Conditions are looking a little bit like a ghost town, which is not bad, especially if you're running a little behind this morning.
Thanks so much. Well, developing this morning, the White House is ready to ship out 65 million pediatric doses of Pfizer's COVID vaccine across the country.
That's right. They're anticipating that federal regulators will approve the shots for kids ages 5 to 11, starting with an FDA advisory panel today. If the full FDA greenlights the Pfizer vaccine for children, the CDC will also need to sign off before the shots are rolled out. Pfizer says trial data shows 1/3 of its adult doses is nearly 91% effective against symptomatic illness in children. Barring any hiccups, both federal agencies are expected to approve the shots.
Pediatricians who care for these kids, we want to find a solution, and it is a miracle that we potentially have one.
A Kaiser Family Foundation survey finds that about 1/3 of parents with potentially eligible children are hesitant about letting them get the shots. While Moderna's pediatric shot is still several weeks away from authorization, they say it's also highly effective in children with only mild symptoms like a headache and sore arm. The city of Caldwell will reopen buildings to the public next week. Starting November 1st, the city will resume walk-in services, while online services and appointments will remain available. The buildings originally closed in September in the wake of the statewide activation of crisis standards of care, but services were not interrupted. City officials still encourage mask use and social distancing within city buildings and say that all public facilities will be sanitized regularly. Pediatric care can be tough to come by in Idaho, specifically for those living in rural communities, as Idaho has a below-average number of pediatricians per 100,000 kids.
Yeah, as our Nicole Camarda reports, Family Medicine Residency of Idaho and St. Luke's Health System, they're looking to change that. The two are teaming up to improve pediatric care across the Gem State with a new pediatric residency program starting in 2023.
Having this pediatric residency here is going to be bringing medical school graduates who come in and do 3 years of pediatric training and then graduate and will be looking for jobs throughout the valley and really throughout the region and the state.
According to the American Board of Pediatrics, Idaho ranked 50th out of 50 for the number of pediatricians per 100,000 children in the state. Idaho has about 42 pediatricians per 100,000 kids, while the national average is nearly 90 per 100,000.
There is not a single pediatric residency that exists between Portland and Seattle and the Minnesota border if you stay north of Salt Lake City.
Dr. Perry Brown added about 60% of residents who graduate stay within 50 miles of that program to practice.
We felt like this was a great way to bring new services to our area, as well as to really increase the flow from a pipeline to have more pediatricians settle throughout Idaho.
The goal of the program is to also spread resources out to rural communities in the state. This means residents could be required to spend part of their training outside of traditional urban or suburban areas.
The goal of that is partially to get them out into different communities where they may become very excited to live and populate different portions of the state, not just the Treasure Valley. But another big piece of that is to teach pediatricians and family physicians in rural areas how to collaborate together and the value add of having a consulting pediatrician, and to develop that model so that we can have pediatricians in rural Idaho where on-the-ground pediatricians have not existed before.
St. Luke's has provided $1.7 million to help launch the program, and St. Luke's physicians will help with teaching at their locations. Nicole Camarda, Idaho News 6.
Time now is 6:08. Still to come here on Good Morning Idaho. Idaho's Teacher of the Year receives yet another honor, this time at the White House. More on his trip after the break.
And a committee is still looking into the January 6th insurrection. More on their work and the new statement from the White House on former President Trump's role in the investigation. That's next.
You're watching Idaho News 6. Good Morning Idaho.
Well, one of Idaho's teachers is honored by President Biden after being named the Gem State's 2021 Teacher of the Year. Jorge Polero was informed there was a possibility of going to the White House after receiving the honor, but because of COVID-19, it was uncertain if that moment was going to happen. The moment finally came to fruition, and Jorge, along with other Teachers of the Year nationwide, were honored by the President and First Lady, herself an educator as well.
You know, regardless of what your political party is that you agree with, we're talking about the President and the First Lady of the United States. And I was completely, I don't know how to say it, many memories came back to me.
Jorge migrated to the U.S. 25 years ago, and he says he hopes his journey inspires other immigrants and his students to keep on going. While the First Lady hosted the event, Jorge says he and other attendees were surprised when they learned President Biden was there to speak with them as well. Well, new this morning, President Biden will not use executive privilege to help former President Trump keep piles of documents away from the committee investigating the January 6th riots at the Capitol. A statement by the White House counsel said the president's position will remain consistent with a position he made public earlier this month. And the president said, quote, "The assertion of executive privilege is not in the best interest of the United States and not justified." Former President Trump filed a lawsuit to block the release of documents the House committee wants as part of their investigation. The committee did not rule out trying to subpoena the former president. And right now, 70 million Americans on the East Coast, they're bracing themselves for severe storms as a powerful autumn nor'easter targets the region. The Northeast and New England area, they're expecting high wind and heavy rain. It's prompted several flash flood watches along with a pre-storm state of emergency in New Jersey and in more than 20 New York counties. In the Midwest, people from Illinois to Missouri are cleaning up after tornadoes ripped through towns, tearing apart homes. Parts of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas could get tornadoes as well as storms head their way today. The West Coast had its own walloping from Mother Nature with snow in one part of California and torrential rain in other areas of the state. And greenhouse gas levels have already reached new record highs. Yesterday, scientists with the United Nations said greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere peak in 2020, and there was a temporary decline in new emissions during the pandemic, but scientists say that wasn't enough to make an impact. The UN warns that if emissions continue to rise, we're going to see more extreme weather, including intense heat and rain, melting ice, and rising sea levels. Coming up on 6:15 now, we're taking a live look at Boise. This is from our Grove Tower Cam, courtesy of Bronco Motors. Still ahead on Good Morning Idaho, we're going to have this morning's forecast with Frankie Catafias. Don't go away.
This is Frankie Catafias with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Well, good morning, Idaho, and happy Tuesday. We're starting off this morning with a look at what's been happening over the last couple of hours here throughout the Treasure Valley. Mostly quiet conditions, not seeing much activity, no rain, no snow. We're seeing a lot of that snow continuing to filter out throughout parts of the eastern central mountains. But again, not much anything in the Treasure Valley, maybe a little shower or two towards eastern Oregon. Really not anticipating some active weather for today. We're going to start to notice a drying pattern kicking in, but we are going to see a couple of what I call detox showers that are kind of going to cycle themselves out as a result of that big system that did push through over the last couple of days. Waking up this morning, you can expect to wake up to about 43 degrees here in Boise, really 40 degrees across the valley regions. But if you head up into those higher elevations, you're going to be well into the 30s, so a little bit cooler. Now, speaking of cooler, we do have a cooling trend. We're about 7 degrees colder in Boise now than we were 24 hours ago, 12 degrees colder in Ontario, and if you head down towards Twin Falls, about 10 degrees cooler. Now, the good news is we're not having to worry too much about strong wind gusts, at least not right now, not this morning. Again, very quiet, nothing that's being read or measured up into our mountains or even those valleys. But if you're taking a look at what's happening in Pocatello, we have about 30-mile-per-hour winds that are blowing that way. And if you take a look at what's happening towards eastern Oregon, got strong pockets of wind there as well. Today's forecast is going to be 51 degrees. We are going to remain mostly cloudy. However, we can expect some very light rain, emphasis on light rain going into this evening. So what does that look like if we take a look at that day at a glance? Well, for your Tuesday, you can anticipate the possibility of seeing a 20% chance of showers by 2 p.m. However, we are anticipating that those light rains not kicking in until about that dinner hour. So it's fair to say that about 4 p.m. at the start of that dinner hour, we can start to see a couple sprinkles or two across the Treasure Valley. Now, when we take a look at that future clouds and precipitation, this is a look at 4 p.m. Not only are we anticipating some light showers in Boise, Mountain Home will just remain mostly cloudy. We are looking out at the possibility of some snow and a rain-snow mix in some parts of our higher elevations. So you can anticipate not just the rain in some parts of the valley, but you can anticipate some of those snowier conditions. Now, as we cycle through most of our Tuesday, we'll see quiet conditions, cloud coverage rolling in and out, maybe just a very brief, very quick blink of an eye shower between really 4 p.m. and about 6 a.m. tomorrow. This is a look at another system that's going to be pushing through. Again, this is one of those detox showers that's really just trying to filter itself out before we can totally get into this clearing that we can anticipate by about noon. So noon, we can anticipate seeing those clearer conditions starting to roll in. And then we'll also see that with those clearer conditions come some warmer conditions. Now, for those high temperatures for today, we're anticipating 50 degrees across the board. Again, afternoon light rain is what you can anticipate. Just have that umbrella handy. You're not going to need rain boots. You're not going to maybe need that raincoat, but an umbrella is always a good idea. 53 is that going to be that high temperature in Kuna. If you're heading on up into those west central mountains, we're looking at 39 degrees is that high temperature in Pine and Featherville. 47 though if you're going to be in Garden Valley. 55 is going to be that high temperature in Riggins, and you can anticipate just a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of snow, especially in those overnight hours when the temperatures are just cold enough to support that. Mostly sunny conditions though if you're going to be in the east central mountains, which is good news, especially when your high temperature is going to be 38 degrees in places like Stanley. Quick check at what to expect in the Magic Valley. Partly cloudy conditions. As we saw, we are already dealing with some strong wind gusts, so windy conditions are fair game for most of today. 51 will be that high temperature in Gooding and Twin Falls. Final check at what to look in the next 7 days here in the Treasure Valley. Dry conditions, plenty of sunshine starting tomorrow, sticking around through at least Monday. Time right now is 6:19, and don't go anywhere because coming up after the break, some special horses are getting into the Halloween spirit, and we're going to be sharing why in today's trending news up next. But first, here's a look at today's school lunch menus.
Hi there. Hi, welcome back, everybody. Here's a live look at Boise, courtesy of our Bronco Motors Hyundai Tower Cam. Trending this morning, Tesla is now the sixth company in the U.S. history to be valued at $1 trillion.
Whoa. Yeah,
Whoa.
That's more than the 11 largest global automakers combined.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes way.
Okay.
Shares for the electric car company topped $1,000 each yesterday, and Apple remains the most valuable company in the world at $2.5 trillion. Microsoft is right behind at $2.3 trillion. Those don't, when you hit that kind of numbers,
Sure.
it just
It's not
feels
real.
like not real.
It's monopoly.
What's
money.
a trillion?
I don't even
What's
know.
a trillion?
It's
Too many zeros.
Yeah, it's 1,000 billion.
Yeah.
Legally.
Would you want a Tesla? You don't?
Yes.
You're just going to contribute to the trillion.
Well, I mean, I'm not anytime soon. Those things are expensive, but they are cool as heck. I watched a YouTube video on all the gadgets and features on the inside. Oh, it is like a spaceship.
Basically, yeah, an iPhone on your dash. Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Well, a new pop-up shop has opened in London celebrating the life of late singer David Bowie. It's part of the year-long commemoration for Bowie's 75th birthday. That's January 8th, 2022. The shop has all kinds of memorabilia, merchandise, screening rooms, and more. Recording artist Nile Rodgers and TV host Jonathan Ross were on hand for the shop's opening, not far from where Bowie shot the cover for his 1972 Ziggy Stardust album. Bowie died at home from liver cancer in January 2016, 2 days after his birthday and the release of his final album, Black Star. I didn't even realize it was already 5 years ago. It doesn't even seem like that long ago, and no matter when it was too soon.
Yeah.
What a legend.
I love these sort of pop-ups, though. They're kind of vibrant, and sometimes you're just walking through a city, and you're like, okay, this is not going to stick around, but the fact that yeah, that's cool. I would love
to get in there, take some pictures, and yeah, what a guy. That's just such a shame. But great to see that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. A horse is a horse, of course, unless it's around Halloween. Take a look at these guys. A therapeutic riding academy for those with disabilities. They're hosting an event where equines, they trade their saddles for costumes. And the friendly costume competition helps riders bond with their horses. Volunteers with a local Air Force base and South Dakota State University's nursing program helped with the event. Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Oh, look at them.
You can dress them up.
That's fun. Just what they love.
Maybe they do. They feel special.
I saw one. You'll appreciate this, and maybe you saw this. You know, from Star Wars or Empire Strikes Back, the AT-AT walkers.
Oh yeah.
That's the big things. Someone dressed their horse up in one of those, like with a helmet and everything, though they looked like a big one, and the horse never wanted it off. Apparently he had anxiety, and it helped him with it.
It's like like a weighted blanket.
Yeah,
probably.
So that horse looked cool always.
Time for GMI wants to know. Okay, we're counting counting down to Halloween, so tell us, what's the best scary or at least Halloween-themed movie that you love? Maybe you prefer a TV episode?
Sure. Once again, trying to mirror this for you all to see, and technology continues to hate me, so I guess I can talk about it once again. Verlin says, best Halloween movie, the original Halloween.
Oh. Yeah,
That's
well, there you go. Classic.
Yeah. Michael Myers.
It's all in the name.
Yeah, you hear the theme song and you just start panicking immediately.
You start panicking.
I
You're
do.
Like, oh,
this
turn
is
the
true.
lights on.
I wish I could show you this. Kevin just has a little gif of Pennywise the clown.
I was just about to say, I was like, is it? Well, that's all you need to see is that red balloon or a guy in a gutter.
Out of the gutter. Ugh, no thanks. That is a scary one right there. Gail says the Conjuring movies.
Those are scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suzanne says The Grudge. I've heard that's incredibly scary.
You haven't seen The Grudge?
No.
Okay.
Nope. And Amanda just says simply 1, 2, Freddy coming for you.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh, Freddy Krueger.
I listened to a podcast about people getting forced to watch scary movies. I think you should get on that. All right. 6:27 now, coming up in our second half hour. We are a week away from Election Day. Meet the candidates for one Boise City Council seat. That's straight ahead.
Plus, an investigation is underway after a deadly shooting at the Boise Town Square Mall. We'll have more from witnesses and the latest from police and a live update after the break.
This is Idaho News 6. Good morning, Idaho.
Yes, you are. Welcome back to Good Morning Idaho here on this Tuesday. I'm Matt Sizemore.
And I'm Kristen Scovira. As we've reported, 2 people are dead and 5 people, including the suspect, are recovering after a shooting inside the Boise Town Square Mall. That happened just before 2 o'clock Monday afternoon.
That's right. Dozens of people were inside the mall as shots were fired, running to take cover as the situation unfolded. Our Natasha Williams is live in Boise this morning. And Natasha, what did they say about those moments?
Matt and Kristen, good morning. As you can imagine, it was a terrifying time inside of the mall yesterday afternoon during that shooting. And some people we spoke with said they thought that something like this could never happen in Boise. Police Chief Ryan Lee called the shooting a traumatic moment for everyone in the community, but did stress there is no danger to this area. Officers responded to the scene around 1:50 Monday afternoon on shots fired calls at the mall. One Caldwell man says he and his fiance were shopping when they heard the gunshots. They were able to safely evacuate after a mall security guard told them what was happening.
I seen some people with their kids. I told them to get their kids to safety, walked a little bit farther in the mall, came out JCPenney's and started walking towards Macy's.
Another person we spoke with says he heard 2 pops while in the food court, but didn't realize what was happening until he saw people running.
I never heard a gunshot before. It's just like, it was one of those deals where when you hear a pop like that and you're in like a enclosed, like the mall, you know, but like I said, it didn't click in my brain until everyone started running. And then I just followed. I was on the second floor of the food court. I just ran down the stairs and just ran out.
Boise Mayor Lauren McLean spoke during a briefing Monday, thanking shopkeepers and mall employees for acting quickly to keep people safe. The mall will remain closed, but people who left items inside will be able to go retrieve those at some point today. Boise police are offering updates on their Twitter and Facebook pages. As I reported earlier, the suspect is among the injured, and they're said to be in critical condition. A Boise police officer was also hurt, but they have been treated and released. Chief Lee would not comment on a possible motive as the investigation gets started, but the Ada County Critical Incident Task Force will lead that investigation. We'll keep you updated as we learn more in the coming days. Live in Boise, I'm Natasha Williams, Idaho News 6.
All right, Natasha, thank you. And Governor Brad Little shared his condolences to those affected by yesterday's shooting. In a statement, he writes, "Those injured in today's unthinkable shooting at the Boise Town Square Mall are in my prayers." The state of Idaho stands prepared to assist the Boise Police Department as they investigate the shooting. Idahoans are deeply appreciative of our brave men and women of law enforcement and our first responders. And Idaho's congressional leadership also offered statements thanking first responders and offering prayers for those affected. Now, of course, this is a developing story with many questions still unanswered, and we'll continue to follow up for you. You can always find our very latest on air, on social, and online at idahonews6.com.
This is Frankie Ketafires with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Well, precipitation has been the headline for the last couple of days throughout Idaho, not just here in the Treasure Valley, but well up into our west central and east central mountains as well. So as we start to say kind of goodbye to this system that's been bringing us sufficient rain and even snow in some places, we're just kind of taking a look at what we can see in these final days as it starts to push itself out. So for today, we're seeing really that significant rain not coming until about 3 p.m. And by significant, it's just going to be widespread, very light, but widespread until about 8 p.m. Then we'll start to see conditions tapering off ever so slightly. But if we take a look at what's happening in the next 5 days in the mountains, we're going to notice there's going to be much more significant rain and snow for Tuesday and your Wednesday, again tapering off by about Thursday. But we see that those precipitation chances rev up just a little bit later in the week. Here's a look at that extended forecast in Stanley, showing us that we have snow likely for Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, if we take a look at the potential snow and what that could look like accumulation wise, it could look upwards to about 4 fresh inches by Thursday.
Now, the Idaho News 6 traffic report.
Well, at 6:34, here is a live look at I-84 at Orchard, and we are obviously seeing some wet conditions this morning. A little bit of rain leaving those roadways just a little slick this morning. Another check at I-84 at 10 Mile is also showing that those slick roadways are also happening over that way. East and westbound lanes, though, are moving freely, which is good news. Quick check at what to expect at Eagle Road and 5 Mile, as well as Maple Grove, also showing, again, conditions are favorable. So if you got to get out the door this morning, now is not a bad time to do so.
Frankie, thanks so much. Well, Election Day is a week away, and 3 Boise City Council seats are on the ballot. For the first time, the Boise City Council will be elected in districts.
And this comes after the state legislature passed a law requiring any city with more than 100,000 residents to elect officials by district instead of at large. This time around, the seats for Districts 1, 3, and 5 will be chosen.
Now, last week we introduced you to the District 1 candidates, and today our Anna Zalian introduces us to the candidates for District 3.
District 3 includes the north end of Boise and everywhere in purple on this map. There are 4 candidates running for this seat: incumbent Lisa Sanchez, Nicholas Dominy, Maria Santa Cruz Cernick, and Greg McMillan. Lisa Sanchez was elected to Boise City Council in 2017. She's been vocal on issues affecting renters in Boise and plans to continue to advocate for this group if reelected.
I've been able, over the past 30 years of living in Boise, to forge partnerships with community members who have been key to helping us get this type of legislation moved forward, and also providing them an opportunity to start to build those relationships with the city, because I think we need more people. I can't be the only one.
She says another priority is communication with the community.
Well, what I have observed for a myriad of issues that we face in the city of Boise, we need to involve our community members.
Sanchez referenced the proposal to build housing on the Magurdio property in West Boise, which the city had promised to turn into a park in the 90s. This led to an outcry from community members who were against the proposal. Nicholas Dominy is a small business owner and member of the U.S. Army Reserves. He says housing is one of the top issues in Boise right now, and he disagrees with where new developments are being built.
We need to start building the infrastructure outwards, plan on building everything out there, and then move everything inward and making sure that we're not just throwing things randomly at a board and be like, well, I guess this works or this fits.
Another issue Dominy says is a top priority is the distance of fire departments from northwest Boise, the area near where the Goose Fire burned a few weeks ago.
And if people keep moving out there and the homes keep growing, then we need to have a fire department out there, and that's something that I'm advocating for.
The city of Boise recently announced it's considering adding a fire department in the same area. Maria Santa Cruz Cernick is also a small business owner and says one of the top issues in Boise right now is the proposed interfaith sanctuary shelter on West State Street.
One would be the shelter, and also the safety in our neighborhoods, and maintaining that. I think we need to do more of a neighborhood watch.
Cernick has previously been critical of the proposed move, but recently met with the executive director of Interfaith Sanctuary, Jody Peterson-Steigers, to learn more about the project. She has not made any other comments on the issue since this meeting. On housing, she says tiny homes might be a solution.
And my suggestion would be to create a Avamore type village of small houses, tiny houses as they are called.
Greg McMillan has more than a decade of experience with commercial and residential realty. He says one of the top issues in Boise right now is public safety.
I don't think they're receiving as much training as they would like, and I think that's really important to provide high quality service from the Boise Police, also providing the resources necessary from the fire department as well.
On housing, he says one way to address this issue is to add staff to planning and zoning and streamline the processes. He also says the city can look to other cities that have grown quickly for examples of what to do and what not to do.
Look outside our own bubble to say who's doing it well, how did they do it, and maybe who didn't do it as well, and what can we learn from that.
McMillan says some examples might be Colorado Springs and Albuquerque. Anna Azalian, Idaho News 6.
If you'd like to vote early in the November 2nd election, you have a few options. Now, if you're already registered, you can vote early up until this Friday. In Ada County, on top of early voting sites at Boise and Meridian City Halls and the elections office, there's also a mobile voting unit setting up somewhere new each day. So if you aren't registered to vote just yet, you can still do so on Election Day at your polling place. Precincts will be open next Tuesday, November 2nd from 8 to 8. A voter guide for the general election can be found on our website, IdahoNews6.com.
Time now is 6:39. Still to come here on Good Morning Idaho. State lawmakers could be called back to work. We'll share why and the response from legislative leaders next.
And oil prices top $85 a barrel for the first time in 7 years. The reasons for that price jump straight ahead.
You're watching Idaho News 6. Good Morning Idaho.
And welcome back, everyone. Idaho lawmakers are set to reconvene next month to consider legislation banning COVID-19 vaccine mandates. The Associated Press reports the House and Senate will likely return on November 15th. As we reported earlier this year, the House never officially adjourned and can come back if Republican House Speaker Scott Bedke calls on them. If he does so, Senate President Pro Tem Chuck Winder said he'd recommend senators return as well. On top of vaccine mandate legislation, the House also needs to complete action involving an ethics complaint against Representative Priscilla Giddings. Governor Little, the Attorney General, and top leaders in the House and Senate have approved paying $152,000 in legal fees to reclaim Idaho. The state lost a court challenge against a new law the group says made it harder for voters to get initiatives on the ballot. The 4 Republicans who comprise the Constitutional Defense Council voted unanimously yesterday to pay the legal fees. Earlier this year, Idaho lawmakers approved the ballot initiative measure, and Governor Little signed it into law, but the Idaho Supreme Court struck it down as unconstitutional, ordering the state to pay attorney fees for Reclaim Idaho and another group. New this morning, oil prices continue to rise. Oil topped $85 per barrel for the first time since 2014. That marks a 13% jump in oil prices this month alone and a 120% rise since this time last year. The turnaround is remarkable for a commodity that was trading at negative prices less than 18 months ago when suppliers ran out of space to store it. A global energy crunch is similarly impacting the prices of coal and natural gas. The average price Americans are paying for a gallon of gas now stands at $3.38. A year ago, it was $2.16. A new study shows American companies need skilled workers. The National Association of Business Economics found 47% of companies reported a shortage of skilled workers for the third quarter. That's up from 32% the previous 3 months. The report shows 27% of companies say they are not receiving enough applications. 20% say people are applying for jobs, but they don't have the right skills. The report shows the goods producing sector has been the hardest hit. Americans are expected to spend a record $10 billion on Halloween this year. That's according to the National Retail Federation. People will reportedly spend $2 billion more this year than in 2020 on Halloween candy, decorations, and costumes for adults, kids, and pets. Most of the spending, over $3.3 billion, will go to costumes. The organization says it's the most consumers have spent on costumes since 2017. On average, consumers are expected to fork over a little more than $102 on Halloween-related items. Time now 6:44. Coming up, Halloween is almost here. How to keep your trick-or-treater safe while getting your candy fix.
And here's a look at that 10-day weather trend showing you that we have some brighter days ahead, at least for a couple days. Details about what to expect for the rest of your Tuesday, though, coming up in my full forecast.
This is Frankie Ketafires with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Well, good morning, Idaho. 6:46 is the time on your Tuesday, and we are starting off today on a much drier, slightly cooler note than we did for Monday. We're taking a look at that clouds of precipitation over the last couple of hours and a whole lot of nothing, at least not throughout the Treasure Valley. We did see a couple showers that were cycling through, but these showers are quickly just trying to detox themselves out of the area as we start to approach a warming trend and a drying trend. You can see some of those showers really favoring parts of eastern Oregon and some of those snow showers favoring parts of our east central mountains. Now, I said we're starting off on a cooler note today. We are 43 degrees is what you're waking up to in Boise. You're well into the 30s, though, if you're up into those central mountain locations. If you want to take a look at that 24-hour temperature trend, we're about 7 degrees colder now than we were 24 hours ago here in Boise. 12 degrees cooler, though, in Ontario, and about 10 degrees between McCall and Twin Falls, with only about 5 degrees cooling in Haley. Now, the good news is, despite having these cooler temperatures, we're not having to worry about any sufficient or significant wind gusts throughout parts of the valleys or the mountains. However, if you take a look at what's happening over in eastern Idaho, you're going to see 29-mile-per-hour wind gusts is what's happening over there. 24 if you're in Idaho Falls. Seeing a little bit of stronger wind activity if you're heading again towards eastern Oregon, but we're not seeing that here again in Boise. But we are anticipating some light rain sometime this afternoon. High temperatures of about 52 degrees. For the most part, though, you can anticipate just some cloudy skies. So that fresh air forecast says if you want to get out this morning, maybe even midday, you're going to have some cloud coverage. Again, it's going to be cool. But I mean, coming afternoon, that's when that light rain's going to kick in. So if you're not a fan of the rain, maybe you're not feeling as motivated with the rain, I would just recommend getting out while you can, midday or morning. Now, future clouds and precipitation is telling us that if you want to avoid some of those showers for today, 4 p.m. is when we're seeing the earliest shower come through, but really 4 to about 8 p.m. This is a look at 5 p.m. today. You can just expect really the dinner hour to just be fair game for any type of shower. Then we'll see lots of cloud coverage on and off. And you might even see just a spit of a shower here and there, just very brief, a blink of an eye. It's in and it's out. But then we'll see our next significant shower coming at about 6 a.m. tomorrow. Here's a look at what's happening across the Treasure Valley down towards Mountain Home. We'll even see some snow showers in our mountains. But then once we start to approach the afternoon hours, about 1 p.m., you're going to see a total clearing. We'll just see lots of cloud coverage and some residual showers again showing up as some rain, a rain-snow mix, and maybe just a pocket of snow here and there. 50 degrees across the Treasure Valley, afternoon rain. It's pretty straightforward, easy peasy. I would have to say, if anything, maybe just have an umbrella on hand. You're not going to need rain boots like today, like you maybe did yesterday or Sunday. But again, pretty comfortable conditions. Could be a lot colder. As we head up into those west central mountains, rain and snow showers are fair game for the sole purpose that our high temperatures, I mean, that's warm enough just to keep it at the rain level, but overnight or just kind of in the late evening, you can anticipate snow showers just because low temperatures will be cold enough to support a flurry or two. In the east central mountains, we're expecting much cooler conditions, which is nice because we do have mostly sunny conditions. So 38 degrees. Yeah, you're going to want mostly sunny conditions for 38 degrees as your high temperature. Magic Valley, partly cloudy skies. 51 will be that high in Gooding and Twin Falls. Now, final check at what to expect in the next 7 days. You'll see that after today, mostly sunny skies, cloud coverage, 60 degrees come Thursday.
All right, Frankie, thanks very much. With Halloween right around the corner, health officials anticipate more people will be out trick-or-treating compared to last year.
Yeah, Idaho News 6 reporter Alex Grant spoke with health officials who want to remind people how to stay safe this holiday.
The CDC has cleared regular trick-or-treating to be very safe with low risk, especially if you're handing candy out outside.
While the CDC has given the green light for trick-or-treating, the health district is still encouraging people to follow safety protocols like washing your hands to not only protect you from COVID, but the flu.
The flu virus can actually spread very easily from surfaces, so it can potentially be passed from your hands onto candy that child will then touch and put in their mouth. So it is really important that you do take a couple of precautions.
Officials also recommend alternative methods of handing out candy this year to limit contact with strangers.
Prepackaging your candy, putting a couple of pieces into a little baggie, or putting out a bowl of candy where kids can grab on their own. The prepackaged idea works a little better because if you have a lot of hands reaching into the bowl, there's more chance of you spreading something like cold or flu virus.
And whether you're out trick-or-treating or going to a Halloween party, health officials advise doing so in small groups.
Whenever we get into those big groups, that's typically where we see the disease spread. Now you're going to be outside as you trick-or-treat, so that really helps. But you still want to try to stick to smaller groups, especially people who are in your own little bubble.
In Twin Falls, I'm Alex Grant, Idaho News 6.
And here's a live look at Boise, courtesy of our Bronco Motors Hyundai Tower Cam. Stick around. We'll be right back with the last check of the news here on Good Morning Idaho.
You're watching Idaho News 6, Good Morning Idaho.
Welcome back, everyone. Your time now is 6:54. Developing now, 2 people are dead and 5 people, including a suspect, are recovering after a shooting at the Boise Town Square Mall.
Yeah, it happened just before 2 o'clock Monday afternoon as Boise police responded to calls of shots fired inside the mall. Our Natasha Williams is live in Boise this morning with the very latest. Natasha.
Good morning, Matt, and good morning, Kristen. That's right. So the Boise Police Chief, Ryan Lee, he called it a traumatic incident for the entire community and for the families involved with the incident. Now, as we mentioned before, 2 people are dead. So the Ada County coroner did respond yesterday. They were killed in that fatal shooting. We're expected to learn more about that today from the Ada County coroner. And we're also learning that the Critical Incident Task Force will be taking the lead on this investigation because there were shots fired from officers as well, or rather from an officer as well. A Boise police officer was injured in the shooting, but they have been released and treated. So they are currently, as far as we know, the condition is good. So 5 people, including the shooter, or the suspect of the shooting rather, were injured, but the suspect is in critical condition as far as we know. We will have the latest information for you on our website on idahonews6.com. Live in Boise, I'm Natasha Williams, Idaho News 6.
And as we went by JCPenney's, people started coming around a corner. I asked somebody, "Why are you running?" And he said, "Somebody heard a gunshot." And then the next person I saw coming through was a lady with a stroller, and she said that there was an active shooter in the mall.
And coming up on Good Morning America, ABC's Alex Perez will be live at the scene with the latest on this incident. That starts in just a few minutes right here after Good Morning Idaho. We'll continue to follow up on this story on all of our platforms, and you can always find our very latest on air, on social, and online at idahonews6.com.
The Out the Door forecast brought to you by Homes of Idaho.
Well, we're taking a look at what you can expect for the rest of your Tuesday. A quick check at those conditions. You can anticipate the possibility of a shower at about 2 p.m., but likely we'll see some of that light rain kicking in really at about 4 p.m., sticking around for most of that dinner hour. Temperatures are going to be fairly cool. We will see a high temperature up to about 52 degrees for today. Good news is once we get past today, we're looking at much drier conditions. Sunnier days are ahead. 66 degrees will be that high temperature for you on Thursday, 64 for your Friday. Now, we will again still have those drier conditions, but come Monday, we'll see just a little bit more cloud coverage rolling in.
The Idaho News 6 traffic is sponsored by the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare.
Well, it's 6:57. Here is a look at what to expect on I-84 this morning. We have a quick check at Orchard, 5 Mile, Maple Grove, and Eagle Road. East and westbound lanes are looking good. We're seeing no slowdowns to be concerned with just yet. Those roadways still looking a little slick, though. So obviously, as you're heading out the door this morning, just make sure you keep that in mind and you drive safe. But another look at those side streets at Eagle Road in Chinden, State and Glenwood, Franklin and Milwaukee, and downtown Boise. So again, conditions are favorable. So if you got to get out the door, now's not a bad time to do so.
Thanks so much, Frankie. Okay, what is the best scary or maybe Halloween-themed movie or TV episode? That's our GMI Wants to Know question today, and we got some good ones.
We do. I'm going to try to run through these as fast as possible. Betty, I like your answer. The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. She says she's not big on scary.
Well, that's just adorable.
Yeah, I'm with you. Christopher says Nightmare Before Christmas in October and December.
It's true. It carries over.
Sure does. County says the best ghost story ever, 1408. Yay, Stephen King. I haven't even heard of that one, but it has John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson.
What? That sounds good. I love both of them.
Yeah, David also says Nightmare Before Christmas and Hocus Pocus, 2 classics. Tammy and John say The Exorcist. Oh yeah.
Scary.
Melissa says the Hellraiser series.
Too scared. Just seeing the cover, it's too scary for me to watch.
Pinhead. County says Roseanne Halloween shows are always great. County also says Hocus Pocus tea. Oh, we're out of time.
We're out of time. I will see you tomorrow.
Bye.
This is my Idaho.
Portions of Idaho News 6 are brought to you by Owyhee Heating and Air.